Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a brand new CGC unboxing for you. Now, this order right here has taken a complete year to come back to me. I literally mailed this order out on May 10th, 2021, and it came back today. Today is May 14th, 2022. Literally a year to get these books back. Now, I'll give you some information about this book, this order right here. This order right here is actually, it's 25 books. It is half of the order. It was a 50-book submission. It was a modern pre-screen. It was, I did a 9.8 modern pre-screen on this. I did not clean and press these books. It was before I did that for myself. So, actually, I didn't do the cleaning and pressing. I should say that I sent it in to CGC, and since I wasn't doing this on my own and I was just learning, these are my first orders that I sent out. I think this probably classifies as probably the third order, technically, maybe the fourth that I sent out, and I knew they needed to be worked on. I knew they weren't going to get that 9.8, but I felt like they were really close. So I ended up sending them in to CGC to have them work on it. So they were at CCS, they worked on them, and I knew I was taking a chance. Already a year ago, I was formulating this idea of how I wanted to do these things. I didn't know that a year later, I would be doing my own cleaning and pressing, and I would be doing part of this process right here at my house, in my garage, in my shop, and saving a lot of money. The amount of money that I have saved by not paying someone or CCS to do this cleaning and pressing has been phenomenal. But back then, a year ago, what do I know? I sent it in there hoping that I knew it was going to take a long time. I'd done enough research to know that this was going to take a while. I didn't realize it was going to take a year. Now, the other half of this was I went ahead and did a pre-screen on this. I did a 9.8 pre-screen. It was a gamble. And I can tell you by just the weight of the box, I was just holding it a second ago, that I know that not every book made the grade. But I know some of them did, so I'm going to be very surprised. I resisted the urge to go and look at this order. I don't know what was graded and what wasn't, but know this, that what I've got in here are 9.8s, and I've got my order right here, and as I said, this is half of a 50-book order. The other half is, I think it has finally made it out of CCS and is in the grading process. But this half right here has got a nice variety of books. It's funny, some of the books that I literally have right here are books that I have just sent in, other copies that I had or picked up recently for various reasons, and actually had already sent those in and gotten them back. So it's going to be interesting to see which ones of these actually get the 9.8. This was part of my evolution on how I wanted to do this. I knew at the time that I wanted to start decreasing my collection, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's just an enormous collection. I mean, by this point it's probably close to 100K books, and getting older, and I know that eventually I don't want to leave this all to my daughter and not have value. So the idea is to start getting these things graded, hold on to them so there's still some value down the road, and if I hold on to the graded ones, then my daughter will have something that will be she can sell and have that money. Or not, or maybe I sell them myself and help pay for this collection. But it was as part of this evolution of a process that I've developed over the last year. And again, as I said, it was a gamble to do this. It could have been a kind of a waste of money on some of these. And since then, I've developed this process of valuing these books. I know I did a value it because I had to get insurance on these books, so I know how much the books were worth. I didn't put a value on what they would be graded. So that's a big difference. It's another big difference in what I'm doing these days. When I send a book in to CGC, I value it at what I think it should be graded at. So I don't value it at what it would take me to replace this raw book that I originally sent in, and that's what I was doing back then. So I can't even tell you what the fair market value on graded 9.8s would be. It's going to take some more research, and normally I don't take a lot of time when I do these videos I want to get these videos in, I want to give you this information, and I want you to take in what you can. But if I sit here and I do all this research and I put this on the video and everything, I can talk about it and you guys can figure it out. So anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get into this box. I'm excited, and as I said, I haven't seen them, so we will see. Look, I've got the trusty orange blade here. Now, one of the other things that I did on this actually came by United States Post Office, delivered this. And even back then, I did not have collector's insurance at the time. So to be able to put a big enough monetary value for insurance on this order, I had to go with the post office. And really, it took forever for this package to get up here once CGC actually mailed the box. So it's funny, I've actually got another order that's coming in either tomorrow or yesterday. That it's all by FedEx now. That's how I do all of my shipping nowadays, because of having collector's insurance, I can do FedEx and I don't have to put any additional insurance on there. Plus, to me, it's a better service. So it's a win-win. All right, getting into the box here. Got more of that big corrugated pads. I love these things. I reuse this all the time when I send out orders myself. And yeah, I'm looking at this right here, and yeah, this is going to be in a lot of ways, this is going to be a big fail, because a lot of books I can tell did not get graded, and I'm probably lower than half of the 25 here. But this was a learning process. Luckily, I got charged I'm hoping that this one, because it went in a year ago, that it got charged the $5 per book for failure rather than the $8, because this order went in a million years ago. So we'll see. As you can, I'll pull out the box here. It is a big box of raw. We'll go through that and see what didn't make the cut, and who knows, maybe I take it back into the press myself and do some cleaning and pressing, and we'll see if I can get these books up and grade. Also, I'll do more research on them, on the values at, maybe they're valuable at a 9.8, maybe a 9.4. Watch my last few videos where I talk about taking advantage of the pre-screens. Well, when you do your own cleaning and pressing, you've got the books right on hand. It's a lot easier. It's a process to do all of this and to make those evaluations. So, all right, I'm going to dig in with the first book. And I'm sitting here going to do a grade reveal. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, what am I thinking? All right, we have Electra Assassin #1, and I am super happy about that. That is definitely a PC. You people, if you watch these videos, my videos before, you know I love Electra. I love Bill Sienkiewicz artwork. This was during my college years, and just absolutely, as a advertising and design student, he was one of my inspirations as an illustrator, as a designer. I just love his artwork. And right there on the wall over to the side here, I'm not turning the camera because the camera's sitting up there by itself right now on the tripod, but right there on the wall, I have got the virgin cover of this cover right here. I've got that on the wall up there. I took it to Heroes Con 2 years ago down, that's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Bill Sienkiewicz was there, and I got him to sign that. I've actually got 2 different Electra Assassin posters, and he signed both of those. So they're on display here in the room on the other wall. So very excited about that. That is freaking awesome. Now, in the meantime, all this time since then, I'm learning more about what defects can and cannot come out. And at the time, I wasn't sure. All I heard was, oh, they can take it, as long as it's not color breaking, they can take them out. So I don't know what the defects were exactly on this. It's been a year now. But I felt like they were all very close to being 9.8 candidates. I'll put it that way. I wouldn't have put this order in this way if I didn't think it was going to happen this way. But all right, second one we have 2 copies of that. I had sent in 2 of this, so there's 2 of the books right now. So that's the second 9.8 on the Electro Assassin. Yay, that's awesome. Alright, what's up next? Again, I'm reaching down and hiding the grade. Alright, so, oh, wow, this is timely. Thor #1. This is the Jane Foster cover. That is awesome. How timely is that? That's awesome. I had completely forgotten what books I had sent in for this order. And so it's a little, now I'm looking at the list now, but it's kind of going back on some of these and I'm going, would I necessarily have sent this in at this point? This has lost a lot of steam. This is Thor #5. This is is this an early appearance? I don't even know if it's the first appearance of Black Winter now. I don't even remember. I think a year ago this was a hot book. Today this is not a hot book. So, interesting. Anyway, 9.8 on that. That's really good. I mean, really, this is probably the newest book in this submission. So, really happy about that one right here. Okay. Alright, so we've got another copy. I've had multiples of these come back as 9.8s that I've worked on, but this was one of the very first ones that I had sent in. I had so many extra copies of X-Force #1, #2, 3, and then I started not getting as many, but second appearance of Deadpool, so it's a somewhat of a key, and not the best cover though, right? But nonetheless, that's a nice book. It's a 9.8. It's not super valuable. Honestly, it probably is anywhere from $90 to $110, maybe. I'd have to look up the current values. I know I've sold one or two of these, and it wasn't super valuable. So I don't know if I would actually send them in at this point right now, because I know that, like I said, it's really worth the time. Oh, now, speaking of X-Force #1, all right. That's awesome. Of course, you know these come polybagged, so I had CGC work on this, CCS, of course, and they must have done a great job because this is a polybag comic and came out great. So, wow, that's really nice. I was never much of a Rob Liefeld fan of his artwork, but I can certainly appreciate it, all these years later, somewhat. Still not the biggest fan, but definitely it was a style, and yeah, it's interesting. Alright, what do we have next? Oh, okay, so this one's in between being timely. It's late for the Captain America, or the Falcon and Winter Soldier film, or TV show, but it's early for the Captain America 4, so this book I'm hoping will heat up again. This, of course, is where Falcon takes over for Captain America and becomes the new Captain America. A year ago, this was super hot. I didn't realize it was going to take a year to get back. I mean, that show has come and gone for so long, but we all know that Sam Wilson's coming back. They're going to do Captain America 4. We'll see what happens to the character. This is a book that will heat up again, I'm pretty sure. Alright, what's next? Oh, now here's a nice book. This is a book I don't know if I've sent in any other copies. I've got some, but I don't think I've actually worked on them. This is X-Men 171. This is where Rogue joins the X-Men, and this is a Walt Simonson cover. I wasn't really paying attention back in the day that was one of his covers, but yeah, it's not one of my favorite covers. There's his signature down here at the bottom. I can't even see that, but it's down here underneath the Spidey head there. Really small, but that was a fun issue. Actually, it's Walt Simonson art on the inside too. But that's an awesome. That one actually has some value, a really good, nice value at a 9.8. That's a book that will help. Well, all of these will really help sell for some things. Oh! I am super excited about this because now I can talk about this a little bit. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is what it's number 8. This is the Death of the Flash, Death of Barry Allen, and go back, watch my video on my George Perez books that I got back from his signing. Of course, he didn't sign them because his health really had deteriorated by that point. And God bless, rest in peace, George Perez, one of my favorite artists of all time. He just recently passed in the last week. And this right here, honestly, this was my favorite issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is, like I said, Death of Barry Allen. Fantastic artwork. This cover is fantastic. It's so dynamic. And I had sent in a copy of this, of number 7 and number 1 to that signing. And I thought they were all really good candidates. I wasn't sure what I was going to get on them out of that signing, and I ended up with a 9.6 on that copy. And I was like, okay, it's good. I would have been fine with a 9.6, especially if he'd been able to sign it. But it is what it is, and I wasn't sure if this one was going to come back or not. I've got other candidates. I think I've actually even submitted some of those at this point again. But hey, look, we got a 9.8. So thank you, CCS. I don't know how the damage was, but I was going to say this book, but actually every one of these books came from the PC. I did not go out and go to cons and go to shows and comic book shops and eBay and anything and buy these books and try to throw value into them. Well, these are all from the PC. These were all, and I can guarantee every one of these was less than cover price. These weren't picked off of the newsstand. Probably every one of these was part of my monthly subscription that I did. I don't even know who I was using back in the day, but I was ordering these. Who was I using back then? I want to say Lieutenant, maybe. But these are all, you do these pre-orders, and you're ordering 3 months in advance, and they give you nice discounts. 35 usually for me. I remember 35 was a lot of what it used to be. And in certain cases where they were trying to push an issue, it would be maybe 45 or 50% on some of them. That was really nice. It wasn't on a lot of them, but it was on some of them. But anyway, it was nice getting that book back. And look at this. We got this one back too. I got on that George Perez signing books, I got 9.6s on both of these. Now, number 1, I got a 9.8. The 9 point on this one and the issue number 7 here, I got 9.6. So there you go. These right here, both of these Crisis books are PC books. I will be hard pressed to sell those. Those 9.6s are definitely going to get sold at this point because, wow, that's super nice. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to go over these books to see what defects might have been there, because I know that I've found a lot, especially at Death of Supergirl, that there was a lot of, I want to say it's a crease, it's a wrinkle in the back covers, sometimes on the front covers of issue number, this one here, issue number 7, and it's a printer defect. It's not something that's caused by anybody except at the printer, but I know that if you press it out, you won't get it out. It will leave a color breaking tick, and then you'll get dinged on it. So I've kind of learned basically to leave it alone, and I'm not sure how it'll grade out exactly, but I know that if you mess with it, it's going to get dinged. So this must have been, as I said, I sent these in. I thought these were the best candidates of my collection. I had multiples of those issues. I mean, we're talking 4s and 5s at least on both of those. All right, here is the last book, and it tells me a little bit what other books are in that didn't get graded didn't get 9.8s. But this is Superman number 1. This is when they relaunched Superman with John Byrne back in, I believe, it was 86. Actually, this is 87. They'd already relaunched him in Action Comics, but then they restarted Superman, and just absolutely beautiful John Byrne artwork. And this is issue number 1. I think I might actually have a copy when I got to meet John Byrne back in the early 90s. This is a book that I know I got signed, and I'm sure I've got the Man of Steel number 1, one of those signed. I'm pretty darn sure. But That is awesome. Yeah, it's John Byrne and Carrie Austin. I mean, there's your X-Men duo art team right there. But anyway, that was the last book that actually got graded. So what did we get here? That was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 11 books out of 25. This was, in a lot of ways, you would think of this as a fail. Now, if it was an order I'd sent out today, check out my last couple of videos where I'm putting books out and I talk about using that pre-screen as a tool. The books I put in this order, they can go through the same process, but think of it like this. If it had been, and I expected every one of these books to be a 9.8, and let's say that the value dropped down to 9.6, it wasn't worth getting graded on any of those. We're just using this as an example. Then this is a perfect example of how an order would have saved me a lot by not getting books graded below below a worth that's worth actually getting graded. If that makes any sense. I'm probably rambling here, but in this case, this was kind of an experiment. I'm learning how to do things. I'm learning, boy, would I've done this the same way? Well, I'm going to tell you, the other half of this order is going to be a lot of Marvel Secret Wars. In fact, the whole order is, except for a couple of X-Force. And I had tons of those books, and I sent in every one of them. That order doesn't have number 8, because I pulled those out and sent them into different orders, but it's got just about every other issue in that 12-issue original run. Excuse me. All right, let us just open it up. If you wasn't paying attention there, I was opening up the raw box, and let's see what we have that didn't get graded. And as I said, I'm going to take these books, I will look them over and see if I can bump them up. That's one part. The second part is me going to look at the books, look up the books and see if there is value at lower grades. Is there still value at a 9.6? Is there a value at a 9.4? Whatever it is. And that's what I've been doing on these other orders, is looking up the values at these certain grades, because not everything has to be a 9.8 to have value. Yes, it has more value, but if there's still great value at a 9.4, then it might go into a pre-screen for something like that. So, all right, so what do we have here? We've got 3 copies of X-Force number 2. Man, I must have had so many of those. I've got 2 copies of that same Superman, so there's 2 there that didn't get graded. I've got, and this is what I was talking about, Man of Steel. I've got 4 copies of, well, that glare is awful, isn't it? I've got 4 copies of Man of Steel number 1. This is a special collector's edition. And for people who don't know, this was, I think this is considered the very first variant cover from a run on comics, regular comics. So, never knew that. I just remember that if I had a choice between this and the regular cover from Man of Steel number 1, the miniseries, to get John Byrne signed, which one am I going to get? I'm going to get this one. This was such a nice, to me, it was just a nicer cover. And let me set these down for a second. And then I've got, yep, all 3 of my issue number 1s from Crisis on Infinite Earths didn't make it. Now what's nice is as I was talking about earlier, I already have the 9.8 in this. So that right there, those, yeah, we'll have to look them over and see what the defects were. And then lastly is that one issue of Secret Wars that wasn't in the other order. I don't know why I broke it up like that, but this is issue number 10, the Secret Wars, the really good Mike Zeck, one of the 2 really good Mike Zeck Doctor Doom covers there. So that right there is what didn't make it into CGC. It did not meet a 9.8 threshold. I did pay to have all these books cleaned and pressed. I think at the time it was still $12 at the time. So a lot of the money in that order was towards that. Actually, I'd already paid for that, but I just got the bill from CGC, so that CCS bill has long been paid for, probably closer to a year ago. I do remember this order sat there for the longest time. I'm not sure if I told you all the other dates. So, as I said, I sent this in on May 10th last year. It was delivered May 13th. What I don't have is when they put it into their system. That one I didn't write down. But I do know this, that at some point, and it was months and months later, it finally made it to CCS. It eventually dropped off of your online area where you can check your orders. I knew it was at CCS. I wasn't too worried about it. Eventually, on April 28th this year, just a few weeks ago, it popped back on to CGC. And at that point, I knew that's where it was. So it came back onto my online check, my form I can check, and it was back in the system. And so by the time when they got that order back in, they sent it out just a couple days ago, and as I said, we got the order in today, May 14th. So once, it seems to me, I'm seeing a lot of that. Once an order goes to CCS and it gets back to CGC, they really expedite that order. And I kind of like that. I like that part of it a lot. At least it's not going to sit there for another 6 months waiting, or 4 months even. Because that's what would normally happen. If you mail an order, I've been finding some of the ones I've been sending in, it's been taking 4 months. Now, that's really good compared to last year. But 4 months, if to add it on top of that would have been, I mean, we're talking a year. It's already been a year. So to add another 4 months is just, that would be an insult. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. I hope I have shown you some things that you can take from this and say, maybe you shouldn't do things like that. Maybe when you do your own orders, maybe you can find the things that I'm doing wrong and not do those. This is something I would never do this kind of order like this again. Well, one, I'm doing it on my own printing and pressing, so I'm not having CCS do it. I do that for two reasons. One, it saves so much more time to get an order in, and two, it saves so much money. It is so less expensive to do that. I mean, I've been buying my own. I've got 2 presses going almost 24/7, and 24. Yeah, but there's times during the weeks on end where I will have book after book after book all day long, and so much so that I've actually bought a 3rd press that I just haven't set up yet. So yeah, it's one of those where I wouldn't do this again. Now, one other benefit is doing your own cleaning and pressing. It allows me to separate these books, do the research on the books for the values, and I can put a book aside, take some time, let it sit for a little bit, come back and make sure that those defects didn't come back in. I've talked a lot about paper memory. A lot of these spine ticks that you might find over here, you press them out and everything, but a little bit of time goes by and they start to go back. It's that paper memory. And I'm working on them right now, and doing this and doing your own work, I can set on the book a little bit, and then I can put a little bit more attention to it later on. And I've found in a lot of cases that the books have been okay, and in other cases, some of those spine creases have come back into it. So it's given me a chance to work on the books a second time, which is something you're not going to find when you send it to CGC. They're going to work on the book. They may work on it more, but they're not going to set it there for another week and come back to it. I mean, I don't think it's going to work like that. So anyway, it's the benefit of me being able to do my own work. So that's just, a couple benefits on the side there. So anyway, guys, Kim. That's all I'm doing is rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the books. What do you think of these books? Let me know in the comments section. And if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the thumbs up. I know how that helps the analytics on the video, and I'm pretty excited. I want to thank everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. Today I just went over my 300th subscriber, and I appreciate everyone who takes time to watch the show. And again, I'm hoping you guys pick up and learn from my mistakes, because I try to. And let's enjoy this hobby. I love this hobby. I love these comics. So, and I'm sure most of us do the same. So, guys, take care, and I will see you for the next video. Bye-bye.